Hi everyone, it's Cindy and welcome back to the channel. So I am so glad to have you here today. We are back in San Myshuno and we are creating an apartment for two dads and either their baby and infant or infant. There's a couple of different combinations that you could use with this build. But this is kind of a shout out to all the dads out there because at the time of this recording, Father's Day in North America at least is coming up very soon this weekend. And so I wanted to do something to celebrate all those awesome dads out there. So this apartment is, as I said, in San Myshuno. It's in 18 Culpeper House, and it has a rather industrial vibe, which you'll see here in the kitchen. I've used these industrial counters. And if you want to add it to your game, it is available for download from the gallery. You can find it using my EAID or hashtag Hyggehaven, and that is HYGGEHAVEN. And if you want to add it to your game and have a sim purchase it, it will cost 47,000 simoleons, 340 in change as well. But yeah, this is a cool little loft, well, sort of industrial loft vibe. It's not an actual loft, but you'll see here I'm using a lot of brick on the exterior walls and on one of the supporting walls here. And otherwise, we keep kind of the colors pretty neutral. And I'm using a couple of like walls and floors you'll see here with the flooring that I don't normally use. And I really loved that I changed it up. So here I am deciding, ooh, let's go with the parquet. Now, IRL, I am not a huge lover of parquet, which is ironic because I live in Sweden, which is legitimately the land of parquet. And I do have parquet in my real life apartment, but I don't usually use it in The Sims. I also don't usually use this terracotta flooring, but it just worked so well. It matched the countertop wood color so nicely, so we went with it. And then because I cannot apparently do a build recently without one of these faded wall murals, we added one of those in there as well. And I also really love that I used the large upper cabinets to make some like pantries on the other side. And I think that looked really, really cool. So I never really get to use those very often because usually the rooms and especially the kitchens that I build in are pretty small. And this kitchen was actually a really decent size. In fact, when I started to try and lay it out, it felt too big and I didn't really know what to do with all the space. But I really like how it worked out and hopefully you'll enjoy it as well. I have also place tested and made sure that your Sims can access all three of those stools, including the middle stool. So that's not a problem at all. And I also really liked how I added some pipes in that kind of like wrap around those pantry cupboards. And we use a couple of like industrial pipes throughout the apartment in a few other places as well. I don't go like crazy overboard on it, but you know, just to kind of keep that vibe going a little bit more than just like the furniture and the fittings and so forth. I also really like this shelf wall piece over on the wall by the window here that I'm going to start cluttering up. And I think it turns out really nice with all the items that are on there. And I'm also putting in some baby clutter because, as I said, these dads have either a baby or an infant. You could put a toddler in here, obviously, as well. So we've got some baby clutter here going onto the counters. I don't see these dads being like the messy type. It's just, you know, babies come with a lot of stuff. And I also added in some baby bottles from the debug menu here, so I'm just adding those in as well. But the kitchen, I think, came along really, really nicely. And here's that shelf that I really enjoyed how I cluttered that up. You know, your girl likes a good amount of cluttering, so we can't not add some clutter here. But anyway, I am actually doing a couple of industrial builds. This is actually the second industrial build that I've done, and I'm posting them out of order. So the first one is actually going to release next week, and I am super excited to see what everyone thinks of that. And I would love to know in the comments not only what you think of this build, but then, next week's, if you enjoy that one. They have been a labor of love. But I think I can safely say now that I did one truly massive industrial build, which is next week's build, and then this one, I think it's safe to say I am industrialized out for the time being. I really liked how they came out, and I kind of like this style, but I think it's time for something else and to change it up a little bit. So, yeah. I also really liked this wall-mounted wine rack. I never use this because it's an unlock from the mixologist career, like level 10 or something crazy like that. And I just never have my Sims do the mixology career. So I never really use it, but I think it works perfectly for this space. So we had to add that in as well. And obviously, we need to get in the fire alarm and the thermostat and all of that. But now we're moving into the living room. Obviously, I used a lot of the industrial loft kit, including these gorgeous doors. And those lead from the living room into the master bedroom. And I also love this fireplace. It's one of my favorite fireplaces in the game. So we had to add that in because it has the industrial vibe going on. You'll also notice that I swap out the color of the side table and everything a few times because I was dithering over color, which is something I frequently do, and I try and cut a lot of that out. I don't know if you're interested in seeing that. I do tend to cut it out because I do a lot of dithering and it would make the videos very long. But if you like seeing that process, let me know in the comments and I'll keep more of it in. And you'll see I also threw in a jukebox over in the corner, which is something that I also don't often use in my games, but I kind of thought it felt, right for the vibe of this apartment. And you'll see later on, I also add some musical instruments in later, and I think that these dads are pretty musical, so that kind of, fit in really nicely. I also realized that the fitness stuff pack goes really nicely with a lot of these industrial furnishings. So you'll see that the side table I added under the window over on the left, that's actually from the fitness stuff pack. And there's a couple of other pieces that I add in, including like a towel rack in the bathroom, but that's way at the end of the video as well. So I think that, they work together really nicely. And then as far as what to do for a coat rack wardrobe area here when you first come into the apartment, I honestly struggled with this. I really wanted to use this wardrobe from the industrial loft kit, but honestly, it's so massive and it was so tight in the space and I didn't like how tight it was even with me pushing it into the wall here, as you can see. I even try and use it later in the bedroom, and it just didn't feel right. So I ended up putting this Seasons one in because the wood tones matched pretty closely. But to be honest with you, I still didn't really like this one, so I'm going to end up changing it later. But we keep it for most of the build, but near the end, I swap it out for some modular pieces from Dream Home Decorator, and I like how that looks so much better. But for the time being, it is there, so, we'll deal with it. So just making sure to add in some of the infant items and, putting some children things in here. So we've got the little play mat and we've got some toys and some, baby paraphernalia such as the wet wipes and whatnot. I do pick those up off the floor. Eventually, we're just, kind of sussing out what's going to go where and all of that good stuff. So yeah, they're going to come up here onto this side table. There we go. But yeah, I do add in some more baby things because I sometimes forget to add the baby clutter. I don't know why. I go hard on the clutter a lot of the time, but not always the baby stuff. So adding in some more pipes there and just a couple of extra things on the sideboard here. And then the window curtains, window treatments, window curtains. Anyway, yeah, went with these nice blue ones. Those are literally the pretty much only curtains that I quickly decided on in this entire build. But hey, That's just the way my brain works, apparently. And adding in just a couple more extra things here to the living room. Also love this seasons lamp that I like never use, the wall light. And then this wall just felt like so large and bare, and I just didn't want to like throw a whole bunch of paintings on. So I added these 2x4 elements. And then I decided to move this shelf over here because, like I said, I wanted to add some more skill building items in. So I popped a piano over here where the shelf used to be. If you don't want, you could probably put a desk in there, but I think it would be really tight and your Sims might not be able to route around the chair. So you could still get to the kitchen, between the kitchen and the living room from the other side, but just be aware of that. But I think the piano works really nicely and it gives a lot more space and doesn't feel so cramped. And I also added a guitar in over by the jukebox as well. So we've got some probably musical Sims living here. And then I also added in those suitcases, the shelving units. I thought they were kind of cute and again, a little bit kind of eclectic, which I think works well with this apartment. But now we're moving into the master bedroom, and I really wanted to use that triangle wallpaper because it has all the colors that match with this bed, but it was so busy. It did not work well. So I decided just to keep it very kind of neutral. Some might argue plain, but I think the solid wall color works so much better. And this is one of my favorite lights in the game. I rarely use it anymore, but when the game first came out, I used this light like everywhere. And arguably, it probably did not fit with most of the aesthetics, but I loved it. And I also really like this rug that I use. I think it picks up, the turquoise of the bedspread, but also the reds in the brick really nicely. So I really enjoyed using that and adding that to the space. And then, of course, more clutter on the end tables here. And I even used like that football photo over on the left-hand one. And I rarely ever use that, but it just felt right in this space. And then once again, I tried to use this wardrobe. I really, really tried. And it probably would have gone really nicely here on this diagonal wall, but I didn't like how much of the window it blocked. So we went with this other base game industrial dresser, which I rarely ever use. So it was kind of nice to be able to use a piece that I don't often use. And then, of course, the gorgeous basement treasures standing mirror. It fit so nicely. And I totally wanted to use this adorable little owl statue here because, it's like the two dads and their baby. So we had to have that in there because it was too cute to not have. And then just adding some items here to the dresser. You'll see I also had added in like a yoga mat and a kettlebell over by the entranceway and some new trainers here because I reckon, maybe one or both of the dads work out as well. And then I mixed and matched the curtains, and I realized the curtains on the right here at the little like bay window area, it looks like one is blue and one is green. I can assure you they are both the same color, but the lighting, probably from the wall light, makes one of them look more green than the other, but they are both the same color. So I checked, I can confirm. And then I also decided that they had a small dog. So we put in a little dog bed, and I did make sure to immediately go and put in the bowl and the toys because otherwise I would forget. And then here we are in the nursery. I had anticipated first using this like cute little beigey floral wallpaper, but I ended up changing my mind, and I also wanted to try and change using some different cribs and changing tables because I always use like this new crib, but I couldn't do it. I tried. I'm sorry, I tried, but this rug like changed my mind as to the color scheme of this room. So we go very purple and orange, and that's when I swap out to the crib and the changing table that I always use because I love them. I'm sorry, I really tried, but I also, even though I didn't use the other ones, I did use finally this cute little sheep chair. I want to say stool, but I guess it's technically a chair. And we get a little blarfy in there, and I'm really happy because I haven't used that little sheep chair with any of my builds recently. So yay! Um, And then, yeah, we're just adding in some things on the walls here, the little mural and the butterflies I thought were super cute. And I lowered this bookcase because I feel like, it should be lower for like when you have an infant that they can reach the books, but it's so high up on the wall as it naturally is, it's not really easily accessible to them. So I used Tool to lower that down, and then I'm using these little modular cubbies to make some storage space, and we get kind of a similar little wardrobe over here as well. And we get the cute little fox lamp because like it's adorable. But it's all very cutesy. And then, of course, we need some little extra toys. I didn't put a toy box in here, but I did put some blocks and a couple of infant toys. There's like the little squeaky toy on the floor, and there's a rattle on the little shelf behind the bassinet. And I did add in this dollhouse for when they're a little bit older. Infants and up can use them. Hopefully it doesn't block the bassinet. I think I forgot to play test that. Sorry, guys. And I also really liked the little towels on the wall. But that's the nursery done. I really like how it turned out. And then we are coming back here into the living room entranceway to swap out the coat racks. Like I said, I wasn't happy with the way that the Seasons one worked. And then after I'd used the modular cubbies to do the nursery storage, I was like, that's what I should do in the hallway. So I am adding those in. So we've got some shoes down in the bottom cubbies, and I'm just putting some clothing here in on the rails, and then I add some clutter pieces in the shelves up above, like some boxes and snacks and stuff like that. And the cute little doggy rucksack, because, I reckon maybe when they take baby or infant to nursery, then that's, the bag that has all the baby things in it. And it was too cute to not use. So, I justified it. And now the bathroom is very simple. It is my typical 2x3 bathroom. I do get a potty in here, so once you have a toddler, you do already have a potty. I thought I would also change it up and use this toilet, but in the end I used the spa day one instead. But again, we've got a couple of fitness stuff pack things in here, like the sink as well, and then this towel rack that I'm adding in. Yeah, it's just kind of a basic, simple bathroom. I don't go too hard on the clutter, but if you enjoyed this video, a like is always much appreciated, and consider subscribing to the channel and click that bell to be notified of future uploads. But that is everything for today, just some finishing touches. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this build, but I will leave you with the screenshots and have a lovely day.